have been nice to have had one more week with that thing before.
Good evening, I'm Bossar. I'm the 2026 Mustang Survival Annapolis to Bermuda Ocean Race chair. I'm here at Eastport Yacht Club. We're having a happy hour and we're interviewing skippers about their past race experiences. I'm joined here with Maryline Bossar, my co-skipper in life and co-skipper of Allegiant, to ask her about her previous race experiences. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
So if you could tell me a little bit about yourself and your race experience.
So I would call myself a pretty new racer. I started racing in the A2B race in 2022, and so I have competed in 2 races. They couldn't have been more different, but I really enjoyed this race in particular because of the bay leg followed by the ocean leg, which makes it just a really fun event.
Could you tell me a little bit about your boat?
Allegiant is a J42. She loves basically tough racing conditions. We like to call her kind of the beast. She will love just a lot of upwind racing, and she's taken great care of us. So I would say that she's the best boat that I could have hoped to get on when I started racing with Allegiant. I didn't realize how lucky I am, and now I realize it because I've seen more race boats out there, and I would say there's obviously different kind of boats that can do the race. We're definitely more on the racing than cruiser side, and so as such, we're not necessarily the most comfortable boat, but we mean business. So she's a great racing boat.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experience as a co-skipper the first year you did the race?
So the first race we did in 2022 was quite challenging. I'm actually quite prone to seasickness, and it wasn't my first time being seasick at sea, but I've learned more about myself and how to manage seasickness, but it was particularly rough. And so I would say the highlight for me in 2024 is discovering what it's like to race and not be seasick. It was a great experience. So really enjoyed, again, having the bay leg followed by the ocean race, and love the dinghy club that hosts us. The Raddick is just such an awesome place to finish. So super racer friendly and sailor friendly.
Great, fantastic. So next question I have for you is, looking back, is there a lesson learned or something unique you remember from your first experience that you'd like to share with others?
I will say, obviously when we plan for food, we always hope we will eat, but in reality, not all of it will get used. So yes, plan as much as you can, but be okay with things not going according to plan. In our case, we definitely did not eat all of the food that we had planned. It's unfortunate, but just be aware that things will not always go according to plan, and who you are as a racer is how you handle difficulties and setbacks and changes, and it's really tricky, especially when you're kind of new to racing, to figure out your sleep patterns and your eating patterns, and those 2 things can make you really miserable if you don't have them right. But just plan for an easy race and just be aware that you may not eat as much as you thought you would.
So is there something that you think somebody that's done or is thinking about doing the race for the first time, something that you would offer up as a recommendation to them?
I was lucky that I met my skipper who was already racing offshore. It's otherwise probably difficult to get into if you just don't have these connections. And I would just encourage anyone who is interested in doing something like this to come to events like this one, to actually meet other sailors and find friends. There's a ton of events here at EYC in Annapolis where you can meet other sailors, and it makes it a little bit less daunting. And my second recommendation would be just get on a boat and do a return delivery. That skipper will be very grateful, and your chances of getting on to do more racing with that race crew will just increase. But that will also build your sailing resume, your confidence at sea. So definitely mingle locally and meet the sailors in a more casual setting, ask questions, offer to help, and if you get a chance, do that return delivery and get on with it. Let's go sailing.
So now, having done a couple of the Annapolis to Bermuda races, is there something you think is truly unique comparative to other races that you've competed in?
So I really appreciate the welcome that we get in Bermuda. I've done other races. I've done races where the conditions perhaps also are not as fun because it's really foggy. So the race conditions are pretty great, even if it can be rough, right? It's the ocean. But I really like the welcome at the Raddick. And for me, that's just my first really big ocean race, going to Bermuda and seeing just how friendly the people are. Like, I just can't get over how friendly the staff, and like 2 years later, they remembered your name, and really cool. And it's a smaller group, and it's just very to even those who are new to racing. So just the overall atmosphere and community of the race is pretty great.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll let you get back to the party.
Thank you.
I'm joined with past race chair, Corinne. Thank you so much. So you've been involved in this race for quite some time. Tell me a bit about how long and what you've done to support this race.
Well, I got involved with the race back in 2010, when a friend was doing the race and they needed a cook and a nurse, and I was both of those things. So I, sure, why not? And I did not know what I was getting into at the time. And after that, I skippered a boat and did the race 2 more times. So, and also started, 2012, I joined the committee, and I was the chair of the last 2 races and entries chair before that. So I've been involved with the race for a long time, 15 years.
So having been everything from entries to race chair and a competitor, can you tell me a bit about what you think makes this race so unique and special?
Well, like I said, I didn't really know what I was getting into when I agreed to do my first ocean race, and I found it to be such an amazing, transformative experience for me. It's a different kind of race than a lot of the other races you participate in here in Annapolis. It's because it's an ocean race, you really bond with the people that you're on the boat with. You have this amazing experience, and you end up in Bermuda at the end. And I think that the Annapolis to Bermuda Ocean Race does a really great job, along with our sponsor, Mustang Survival, in supporting all of the racers. We've got cruisers all the way up to really serious racers. So it's the variety. I like the variety.
I agree with you. I think Mustang has been a great partner for us. Could you also share some thoughts on our partners here, both in Annapolis and in Hamilton, Bermuda?
So here on the Annapolis side, we have Eastport Yacht Club. They've been a fantastic sponsor to us, partner with us since the late 1970s for this race. On the Bermuda side, we have the Royal Hamilton Amateur Dinghy Club, and it's a lovely club. They are just fantastic. They throw the most amazing party at the end. They've got Goombay dancers and rum tastings, and it's just such a reward for these boats that go through so much to get to Bermuda, to get there and have this awesome party. So it's a lot of fun.
Is there one unique experience that you can think back on, or something you'd like to share over the years that you've been involved with the race that really rings true, that you may want to share with, say, a new time skipper, or say a cruising skipper that's thinking about doing the race?
I can't really think of one particular experience. I could talk about every time I've done a return, every time I've done the race, and something amazing that happened. Whether it's like dolphins or seeing the Bermuda longtail birds right before you get to Bermuda. It's just so invigorating, and it's we're almost to land. But I don't think there's one particular experience. I've come away from these races with such amazing, deep friendships with my crew and with the skippers, and it's not something I'd ever want to say I didn't. It was a great experience.
Is there anything about the race itself, starting in Annapolis, being one of the longer ocean races and culminating in Bermuda, that you think is unique for this race that people should consider?
Well, I think it's a tough race. I mean, it's definitely in many ways tougher than the Newport to Bermuda, because you have to go all the way down the bay first, and then once you get to that mouth, then you have to navigate the Gulf Stream and find this little tiny island in the middle of the ocean. I think that's a challenge. It's fun.
Well, Corinne, on behalf of the race committee for 2026, of all the things that you've done in the past, we want to say thank you, and we look forward to your support in the future.
I am happy being the race chair and continuing to support this race. I think it is an amazing experience, and if you have the opportunity, do it.
I'm joined with Sean Rogers now. Sean, welcome, and thanks for taking the time to share some insights with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Annapolis, Bermuda is a great race. It's a lot of fun.
So can you tell me just a little bit about your sailing background, your experiences, and your experience with the race?
Yeah, so I've been racing for about 20 years now. Grew up on the Cal 25 fleet. I now race J's primarily, J30s, J120s. My first trip to Bermuda was on a Hilus 45, which unfortunately we had to retire due to mechanical issues. And then I did it in 2022 aboard Cimaron. where Lynn McClaskey picked up a bunch of awards. First out of the bay, corrected first overall to Bermuda, and a really great skipper.
Yeah, Lynn's a really great skipper.
Yeah.
So is there anything, thinking about people that haven't done the race yet, that you would say is something unique about the race that you find?
Being on the ocean and being able to really, I guess, test your knowledge and what you can do. This last race, we really found out who is adaptable to driving, who's adaptable to main. You know what? I'm a bow man, but I can drive, and I can trim main. I think it's about learning your limits, your physical limits, pushing yourself. It's a race of attrition. It's almost, those learning how to deal with overnight watches, day watches. It's 4 days of limited sleep.
Can you think of anything, if you were to go back and talk to yourself, not having done an ocean race, now having done it a couple times, that you would share?
Honestly, my first ocean race, the biggest thing was to force myself to sleep. When you go off watch, you should be off watch. Your mind should be off. You should be resting. That was the hardest part for me, and I paid the price for it a couple times, not allowing myself to rest.
Rest is critical.
Yeah.
So, for a skipper that's thinking about building a crew and taking their boat out first time for a major ocean race, do you have a piece of advice that you would offer them?
Yeah, I'd say get everyone in every position. Actually, one thing I noticed during this last race is having enough drivers. One of our watches did not have sufficient competent drivers, so that stretched some of our other watch people. So really getting people on the helm in as many different conditions as possible, and even at night, and giving them a course bearing to follow and letting them drive and practice, I think is huge.
Yeah, that's really big. Is there anything unique or one great memory that you have from the races that you've done you'd like to share?
I think like many boats this last race, we saw some great pods of dolphins just following the boat, diving up and down in the bow. It's always and honestly, one of my favorite parts about this race is the stars. The stars at night. It looks like you can reach out and touch them, even though they're thousands of miles away. It's one of my favorite parts of ocean racing, to be honest.
Yeah,
it's the sky at night.
The stars are pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, they're fantastic. It lights up the sky, and it's just amazing. It's if you've never seen it, it's almost hard to describe. You can't take a good picture of it. You have to see it.
Well, Sean, thank you so much. We appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. Hope you're going to enjoy a drink and enjoy the rest of the happy hour.
Well, thank you. Looking forward to next A2B.
We'll see you in 2026.
Sounds good.
Did you not see this?
I'm in Spinchy.
I'm joined here with Bob Fox, veteran skipper, racer here in the Annapolis area. Bob, thanks for joining us.
This is exciting. I'm getting ready for the big race.
Safety at Sea weekend. It's on our mind. We just thought about have a little happy hour. So we just want to take a time to ask you a few questions, namely about your experience, the boats you've owned, and the racing that you've done. So could you tell us a little bit about yourself and the boats?
Cool. I've had a J42, just like yours, and that was the first boat that I did a big ocean race on, and I did the Newport to Bermuda race on that boat. And that was a pretty thrilling experience. I think it was kind of like climbing Mount Everest, when you see Bermuda on the horizon, it's just like, wow, we did it. There was a lot of work that went into that. I had a great crew, for that. And then I sold that and bought an XP44, and that I got line honors with that boat in the 2018 Annapolis to Bermuda race. And that boat, I actually bought it 28 days before the race. And so it was a scramble to get that thing ready. And we were trying to figure it out all the way over, it was such a great boat. We had a lot of fun. And the Navy guys were like right behind us, so.
Bob, you've been very experienced. You've won races. You got a lot of ocean miles. But can you think back to when you did the race for the first time and share a little bit of experience for those that are thinking about the race as you going into the race for the first time?
Yeah, it's a big effort, but it's not impossible. I think that, there's a lot of planning that has to go into it. There's a lot of logistics. Having a good crew, I think, is the most important thing, because you're really on a boat with people that you're literally living on top of, for 4 or 5 days. And, putting all of that together, I mean, we started planning for the race probably in October, November. And, by the time you get, the boat in shape, get the crew organized, get the food, the first aid, all the certifications that you need, it's not overwhelming, but there's a lot of work to do. And I think it's one of those things where, lives are on the line, so you have to take it seriously.
Absolutely. One of the things from the race we think about is being a cruiser-friendly race. Is there anything for cruisers that may want to step up and actually do a race that you might offer some insight?
Yeah, I think that the A2B race here with Eastport Yacht Club is a great event for that because it's, I'd say it's a more casual race. It's kind of like, hey, let's grab a beer and go sailing. Where I think there's other big races where, it's much more competitive. I think there's another sort of notch that you've got to get into those races and do those races. So for somebody that's thinking about doing this for the first time, I think the A2B is great. And it's a very, there's a lot of camaraderie. I think everybody kind of is willing to share ideas and help each other out. So.
Each race has its own unique experiences, but looking back on the races that you've done, is there any unique moments that you think about or harkens back to?
I think it was in the 2018 Annapolis to Bermuda race where we had been through the Gulf Stream. It was calm, and then the next night we had a squall come through it was blowing 40 knots. It's pitch black. We had bolts of lightning coming down all around us. The whole crew was huddled in the back of the cockpit, and we were just trying to keep the boat. This is where we're still learning how to sail the boat, and so I think that was one of the more memorable experiences.
Great. Well, Bob, thank you so much for taking time with us. Really appreciate your insights and perspectives.
Well, Bert, thanks. Happy to help out if anybody's got any questions, so hopefully we'll see you out there.
Enjoy the rest of the happy hour.
Thanks.
Our next guest is Jayne Durden. She's an experienced sailor here in Chesapeake and raced ocean races. She's raced the previous 2024 Annapolis to Bermuda Ocean Race. And Jayne, thank you for taking time with us.
Oh, you are welcome. Happy to be here.
So while we're here at the happy hour, it would be great if you could just share a little bit about yourself and your racing experience and the boats that you raced on.
So I'm an Aussie. Started off sailing very small boats at home, and then as I got older, the boats got bigger. So I did a lot of dinghy racing and then a fair bit of ocean cruising, one big ocean race in Australia, and then arrived in the US. So since then I've raced anything I can around the bay. The longest, biggest race was A2B last year.
Can you tell us a little bit about the boat you raced on for the 2024 A2B?
Yeah, so I was on a J99 Bay Retriever with my friend Kevin Sherwood. Amazing boat, really incredible. Not quite the boat to be comfortable on for a starboard tack for 4 days, but it was a good, hard race and a great boat to be on.
Could you tell us a little bit about an experience or something that you reflect on from that race?
Yeah, so we had two real sort of peaks in the race. The first was the first night. We came whizzing down the bay, got to Solomon's, and I got a text message from my fiance saying, we just got 25 knots in Herring Bay. And so 10 minutes later, that 25 knots hit us. We were deep, deep, deep downwind, and it was us, and the Pogo, and the Hansei. And the guy who was trimming spinnaker, I remember looking at him thinking, if he blinks and he looks scared, I'll suggest that we round down and we'll change sails and we'll calm down. He didn't blink until the full gust had gone. It was about 30 minutes later, and he came back in the cockpit and was like, I was that close to losing it, but you looked as though you were okay. So I was okay. It was amazing. We hit 17 and a half knots going down the bay, just screaming. So that was really good. Several days later, though, there was a predicted line of storms that had come across. Incredible weather prediction that we got from Chris Parker. And yeah, sure enough, this line of storms came through, completely surrounded us, and we ended up bare poled in about 55, 56 knots. It was only about 20 minutes. Don't necessarily want to do it again, but what was amazing is you roll out of something like that and you're like, we were okay. The crew was okay, the boat was okay, been there, done that.
So how did that make getting to Bermuda all that much better?
So it made arriving in Bermuda incredible. The way we planned to do it was to roll in there, rock over the line, and then turn around and motor back in. That was a little harder. We discovered that 4 days on starboard tack meant we'd taken in water into our fuel tank. So we ended up sailing back in right through the cut and then down all the way into Hamilton. So that was fun.
So if I can then ask, that's a lot.
It was a lot.
An amazing experience. For those that are considering doing a race like this for the first time, and A2B being what we consider a cruiser-friendly race, do you have any thoughts you'd like to share with somebody who's starting from beginning looking at something so big?
Yeah, you don't have to do it the way we did it. What's amazing about this race is the amount of preparation that is available and the support that's available for you. So it was really amazing to watch the safety check be done, to know that that checklist was there, that we knew that we had so much redundancy in our safety gear that we were okay. Nothing that I've described did we feel that we were not going to be okay. We had great comms, we had great confidence in the boat, and we knew also that all of the rest of the competitors were similarly prepped. Let's just say that the Hanse, when they arrived, had a much cruisier trip and got there just as fast as we did. And so you can do this race the way that you want to, but what is so impressive is the amount of support really that's available for competitors. If you've never done it before, I think it's just the most fantastic way to get into ocean racing because you've got a fleet and a group of people around you that are there to help you get there.
Is there anything you think is really unique about the race comparative to other races that you've done?
The thing that was really impressed, so I raced in Australia where we get, I know we'd all like this here, but fleets of 120 on the starting line. And you're just one boat in that fleet. What was incredible was at the start and then at the finish, everybody knows everybody. They've been tracking everyone. There's this community of people in the fleet that was incredible. And definitely the support. And hey, finishing a race in Bermuda is a pretty good place to go.
It is pretty great, right?
And so I talked about our kind of rough race, but no damage to people, no damage to boats, a safe race. So fun race and a safe race.
Can you talk a little bit, last question, about getting back home?
Coming back home?
Yep.
Yeah, I flew, so that was good. But my crew came back and they did the trip back a week later. 3 new injectors for the engine, everything was fixed and we came back safe and sound. A little slower and a little hotter. So.
Well, Jayne, thank you so much. We'll let you get back to the party.
Thanks, Bert.
We're joined now with another veteran skipper. Joel, thanks for joining us for our interview.
Glad to be here, Bert.
If you could tell me a little bit about yourself and your boat, it would be great.
Sure. I've done the race 4 times on 3 different boats. First time was on a CNC 35, then a Hylas 44 and a Hylas 49.
And what's the name of your boat?
Rule 1.
So, Joel, if you could look back and think, what is one thing that you would like to share, or one memorable moment you have, or lesson learned from the previous races that you've done?
It's a great experience. My goal in every race is to still be talking to my crew when we get there, and to have everybody talking to each other, and that's never been an issue. Everyone's gotten along, everyone's worked hard, regardless of whether we were, at the front of the fleet or not. And you're getting to one of the prettiest places on earth when you arrive. So,
It is pretty great to finish the race in Bermuda.
It is.
It's a lot of work, though, to get both to the start line and the finish line. If you could think about, is there one thing that you'd like to share with a first-time skipper or a cruising skipper that is thinking about doing the race for the first time?
I mean, you can do it. It takes planning. It takes organization, like most projects in life. But, the safety at sea requirements are there for a reason. You just got to work your way through the list. You'll have a much safer boat when you're done. and a much better experience during the race.
Could you tell us a little bit about something that you think makes the A2B race unique or different from other racing that you've done?
Well, it's really two different races because you've got the 108 miles or so down the bay is one race, and then you've got 653 miles to Bermuda across the Gulf Stream. So you've got to have both inshore and offshore strategies, weather routing, understanding currents, understanding the Gulf Stream.
As a skipper and owner, can you share something about the return back? Everybody's always focused on getting to Bermuda, but you're in charge with having to get the boat back.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who would love to do the race, but don't have the experience to be race crew. So doing the returns are a great way for people to get offshore experience so that the next time they can do the race. I've had some great people on the boat. We've had some great experiences. And the benefit of doing the return is if there's no wind, you can turn on the engine. So.
Well, Joel, thanks for taking the time with us. We'll let you get back to the happy hour. Hope to see you in 2026.
All right. Thanks, Bert.
84403. Brian!
Okay, Kevin Sherwood, Bay Retriever. Kevin, thanks for joining us here at the happy hour for a quick check-in.
Thanks for the invite.
So we're doing some skipper interviews and trying to get some information that we can share with first-time skippers. So the first thing is, would you be willing to share with us your experience as a skipper and the boat that you sail?
Yeah, so this was, I bought the J99 Bay Retriever in 2022. Our first offshore was the delivery home from Toronto, actually. We did the Erie Canal, went offshore from New Jersey, came up the C&D. A year later, we weren't ready for A to N yet, but so we went up to New York to do the Around Long Island race to practice, just to get time together, get practice offshore. And then last year, the A2B program was just fantastic. Everything they have ready for you, the seminars, the inspections, that come out here and see what a boat looks like that is rigged and ready for Bermuda, just all fantastic stuff. But so that was such a big help for us to see that we were frankly on the right path. It was nice knowing that we had a sturdy boat and well-prepared and well-trained crew when we were sitting in 56 knots of wind in the middle of the ocean.
And we were joined by one of your crewmates, Jayne, and she shared the very unique race experience that you had and the challenges, which leads into the next question is, as a skipper, is there something that you would share, a lesson learned preparing the boat and getting your boat there and back safely?
Know your crew. I mean, it was just so... We spent a lot of time working together and getting everyone on the same page, making sure everyone's can handle it so that when you're in that 56 knot squall and no one's ready for it, no one's freaking out, everyone's doing their job and just focused getting back into the race as soon as you can. So get the crew ready and train and practice.
You mentioned some of the things earlier about what you were thinking about as far as crew and preparing the boat and not being quite ready, and the safety seminars that EYC puts together as part of the race package and the race committee. For somebody that's a first-time skipper thinking about doing the race, or maybe a cruising skipper that has not really done a lot of racing, is there something you'd share with them about how they could tackle something like getting to the start line for an A2B?
We got a year now. Stretch your legs this year. Figure out what you can do to get offshore, get time together, start building it this year, because June 2026 will be here before we know it. But they'll do everything they can. But this is the summer to get time on the water and get out there and get sailing.
I know that you had a lot of challenges to get the boat back from Bermuda, but getting to Bermuda is still quite an amazing accomplishment. Can you share any feelings about what it was like to get to Hamilton?
We went further north than anyone, and all of a sudden when you realize there's no one else within sight of you, it's a big ocean to be out there by yourselves. I mean, there's a good element of fear there, but that's healthy. And then when you finally get there and the sea state changes as the waves are now in 50 feet of water instead of 15,000 feet of water, just so many dramatic changes, so many emotional changes. We're close, and then our engine won't start. We're not motoring in. So that was quite a letdown, but just amazing accomplishment, amazing sense of this is what we've trained for years for, and this was awesome.
Is there anything that you think is unique about the race comparative to other racing you did, or just ocean racing in general that you think is unique comparative to bay racing?
Compared to the A to N, A to B in Annapolis, Bermuda is long enough that you really get into the watch rotation. It's easy. I mean, you're in the rhythm of the boat. You do a bay race, and frankly, there's no reason to go to sleep on any of the bay races. Go to Newport, and the race is over, except for last year, last time around. But the race is over before you really get into the rhythm of it. When you're going to Bermuda, it's a long way out there, and you really get into the cycle and get into the routine, and it's, I mean, everyone needs to work together for 4 to 7 days, depending on how long you take.
Well, Kevin, Bay Retriever is a great boat. Thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and we'll let you get back to the party.
Thanks, Bert. Looking forward to next year.
Hi, Katie. Thanks for joining us here at the A2B Happy Hour.
Thanks for having me.
I'm wondering if you could share a little bit of your experience as a racer and the boat you sail on.
I grew up kind of sailing, but I absolutely hated it. My mom was a big racer, so when I turned 19, I said she could have one race to send me on, and she picked Bermuda.
Wow.
So I did a lot of training, got trained up. She gave me a whole list of things that I had to do to accomplish, to make the crew, and I did it, and we went, and it was a fantastic experience.
Well, your mom is a great skipper and a great racer, and it's really an honor to sail with her at AHSA. So next question I have for you is really your experience going into your first ocean race.
So I didn't have a lot of experience, but I had an amazing crew, and we did all of the safety stuff. Just got done doing safety at sea. It's my 4th year doing that now. So be prepared, ask lots of questions, and get out as often as you can.
So if I can ask a question about safety at sea, having done it multiple times, is there something that you really think is valuable out of the safety at sea experience?
If you can only do the first day, all of the lectures are absolutely fantastic. So much information to learn from those. But the day 2, that's really where it's at. You get to, jump in the pool with all your gear on, see what it feels like to have that thing blow up around your neck, and climb in that life raft. It's just an amazing experience.
So for skippers or crew that are thinking about doing the race for the first time, is there one lesson learned or moment that you'd like to share for somebody about experience that you've had doing the race?
Pack well. It gets damp, and you always want to have a dry pair of clothes when you reach shore. That will feel like heaven. But it's a great race. Great to get to know people. So just absorb as much as you can.
Having done other races under conditions, for somebody that's thinking about doing a long-distance ocean race, an A to B for the first time, that may be a cruiser or relatively new to ocean sailing, is there anything you'd like to share, lessons learned or thoughts?
Take it slow. You don't have to jump in. If this year isn't going to work for you, you can always come back next year, but it's more important that you feel safe and comfortable. Push yourself, try to get out of your comfort zone, but safety is what really matters.
Absolutely. Last question I have for you is there a unique memory or something you think is unique to the A to B race itself that you'd like to share?
I love going down the bay, growing up here my whole life. That was really special, especially to get to do that with my mom. But it's such a tight-knit group here, especially with A to B, since we don't have many people coming from different areas. You can always get help from any of the other boats, and they're always there for you.
And what's it feel like to get to Bermuda?
Oh, it's like heaven. You step off the dock and somebody's already there, dark and stormy in hand, and they're just so welcoming, and it's an amazing feeling, yeah.
And you've enjoyed the Amateur Dinghy Club?
Oh yeah, they are so welcoming. Whatever you need a ride to your Airbnb, you need dinner recommendations, something fun to do on the weekend, they got you.
Awesome. Well, Katie, thanks so much. We appreciate you sharing your thoughts on the race, and I'll let you get back to the happy hour.
Cool. Thank you.
Jesus. We got gloves.
I'm joined now with Marianna. Marianna, thanks for taking the time with us. If you could share a little bit about yourself and the boat that you sail on.
All right. My name's Marianna. I've been sailing for maybe like 6 years. Done a couple offshore races with this kind of the same crew. I race on a boat, or for Bermuda, the Bermuda race, I race on a boat called Aurora. It's a X482. But that crew, we've done some other ocean races together on a Cal 39, and we race in the bay on a Taylor 38.
So could you tell me a little bit about your experience going into your first A2B?
Yeah, so I had done 2 Annapolis to Newports, which is a similar, those were my first offshore race experiences, but Bermuda, obviously it's much longer, and it's more ocean in the sense that you have to cross the Gulf Stream, you're like way further offshore. So I had a little bit of confidence of like some near shore sort of coastal experience, but going into A2B felt a little bit like a graduation into some like actual ocean racing. But it was a fun challenge. It was really exciting to take on a longer race and in theory some more challenging conditions and just like more of an endurance event in the sense it takes a couple extra days. So it was great.
So now that you're a veteran, thinking about people that are considering the race for the first time, whether it be skippers or crew, is there any lesson learned or something you'd like to share with a skipper that's thinking about doing an ocean race or A2B for the first time?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me is anyone who's done any amount of racing, whether it's a boat you own, it's your own boat, or just a boat you spend some time on, you like kind of develop that relationship with the boat. And I always feel like the boat is an extra crew member. And every time we finish a race, whether it's an ocean race or just like a bay race, I always take a second to like pat the boat. I say, good job, boat. And I think if you have a boat that you own or you crew on that you're interested in kind of taking to that level, if you know your boat and you trust your boat and you have that relationship of like, you're ready for this. Not just you personally, but you know the boat is ready. Or you feel that the boat is ready, or you feel like the boat wants to do something more. Follow that instinct. The Aurora is the boat I crew on. It's a beautiful ex-yacht. The crew is very experienced, but the boat is ready. It's a very comfortable cruising boat, but it's also like a good performance racer as well. And it likes to go fast. It likes to race. It likes to be in some blue water. So if you have a boat that you think would thrive in that environment, you personally want the challenge, but maybe the boat does too, I think it's a great opportunity to give it a try. You just have to put in the preparation, get it ready, and so that you can have that confidence in it and in your crew. But it's a really, really awesome time to be out in the ocean, far from land, and pull into that beautiful blue water in Bermuda.
So could you tell me a little bit about that? What did it feel like to get to Bermuda?
It was incredible. I mean, it's the first time I've sailed into like that kind of environment. You've been out at sea, and it does feel like different than some of the coastal racing we've done. It's warm, it's sunny. It was raining when we got there, but in theory, it's warm and tropical and beautiful. And you just know, like, the welcome when you get there is incredible. The host club in Bermuda is so happy you're there. I mean, like, they really pull out all the stops, and it is such an amazing feeling to spend however long it takes you, 3 days for the really fast boats, or 7 days, or whatever it takes to pull in and really just feel that sense of accomplishment, like we made it, it's awesome.
So is there anything that you think is unique to the Annapolis to Bermuda race that you enjoy?
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think anyone who does any sort of ocean racing out of like the mid to upper Chesapeake knows like there's like the sort of 2 races in one, right? And I think that's really prominent in the Bermuda race, where you're racing down the bay. Aurora got line honors out of the bay this year or last year, which is really exciting. So it's kind of split in two, which is really fun because you race hard and it's the bay and all the the conditions are changing. There's tons of traffic you have to maneuver around. So that's kind of its own thing. And then you come out of the bay and just keep going for a few days, and it's fun. It's like you gotta get two races in one, which is like really fun.
Well, you guys had a great race, your great boat, and thank you for taking the time to talk with us.
Thanks so much.
Have a great rest of the party.
Yeah, you too.
4, 1, 1.
Russ, thanks so much for taking the time to join us. If you could share a little bit about yourself and your boat.
Sure. My boat is Widowmaker. She's a 1988 CNC 44 with the centerboard. I got into ocean racing in 2016, and I've pretty much done an ocean race every year there was an ocean race offered since 2016. Done on three different boats, and it gets into your blood, and then all of a sudden you can't do anything about it.
So you've done a number of races, Russ, so a lot of experience, but if you could look back and think what it was like for you going into your first ocean race.
My first ocean race, there was a lot of excitement. In fact, it was at Safety at Sea 2015, and I was sitting next to the gentleman who would end up being the skipper of my first ocean race. And I kind of instigated the whole thing when we're sitting in the auditorium at the Naval Academy. And I looked and said, your boat could do this race. I bet you, your boat could do that race. You should do that race. I'll go with you. So I really wanted to do it. And I tell this to people. Imagine that you're out in the middle of the ocean on this little fiberglass island, and everything around you is trying to kill you. And if you're okay with that, if you're excited by that, then just maybe ocean racing is for you.
Well, let me ask a follow-up question. So for skippers that have ocean experience, cruising experience, but have never done a race, anything you would offer to share about considering to do the A2B?
Definitely do it. I highly recommend doing it on someone else's boat, because that relieves a lot of the overhead worry and a lot of the overhead responsibility. You can just focus on yourself. You can focus on your personal equipment. You can focus on getting the experience of going there and coming back. It's an interesting comparison between the Bermuda race and then, like this year, we're doing the Newport race. And when you compare the two of them, to me, the Newport race is, yes, it's technically in the ocean, but there are multiple bailout spots along the way if things go sideways. When you're racing to Bermuda, you're out there by yourself. You may have a competitor around you. The realization that you are truly on your own, and it's you, your boat, your crew, and basically up against all these things that are trying to kill you. And as they say, Safety at Sea, you hit that 300 nautical mile point, that is the operational limit of a U.S. Coast Guard helicopter, unless they can lily pad. 300 nautical miles. When you go beyond that, rescue's not coming for 48 hours probably at best. So going on a boat with an experienced crew, not necessarily an experienced skipper, that would be preferable, but getting that initial experience with somebody else, then you kind of understand the challenges, you understand the mechanics, you understand that a 15-foot swell, it could be a wonderful thing or it could be an absolute nightmare, and it's all about how your boat is set up, how the weather's going, did you read the charts correctly, did you choose the right line, did you get caught in an adverse eddy, I mean, all these things that you get when you race on somebody else's boat, and you're not necessarily the one making the decision, you're just living through the decision. Then when you do it for yourself, you have an understanding of the weight of every decision you make and the responsibility you have when you take your boat to sea on a race like that. And I tell you, I was a freaking emotional mess on my first skippering of my, taking my boat out on the ocean. I'd done 3 A2B's prior to that. It wasn't something new to me. I knew what to expect. But when things started going not to plan, and little problems started to mount up and weather's got kind of iffy and stuff, I was having this ferocious argument in my head, doing my best to shield it from my crew because I didn't want them to think, oh my gosh, the skipper's losing it. But I was going back and forth on the boat's not ready, I got to turn around, it's irresponsible to continue on the race. And then another part was like, did you just see what you did the past hour? We were doing 8.5 knots. It was awesome. You got to keep going. And so you keep going back and forth and back and forth. Coming back from Bermuda, I was a completely different person. But going there, my first time as skipper, even though I had all this experience doing all these ocean races, cognitively, I knew it was going to be more, but I didn't really truly understand and appreciate how much more that was and how heavy that mantle of skipper was until I did it the first time.
So can you tell us how good it felt to get to Bermuda?
It was one of the most beautiful things in the world when you're coming in, and we had gotten, well, there's a great word for gotten. It was a challenging race. I mean, you were out there on the race course. We got into a gale. We saw 44 knots, 15-foot waves, and one of my crew was going on and on that he had never seen a hellscape like that before because the rain was coming down so hard that the wind wasn't able to blow anything off the waves, and so all the waves were smooth. But the wind is screaming at 44 knots. We've got 3 feet of green water coming down the deck. My companionway sprouted a water feature in the middle of the cabin, and I was trying to keep it from getting to the electronics. So it was crazy stuff like that. We got thrashed by a thunderstorm our final night. And so as we came into Bermuda and we see that first sighting, it's like, crap, we made it. And I think about all the other competitors who have tried and had to turn back, first-time skippers who are trying to get their boat to Bermuda, and as luck would have it, they just couldn't make it. And here I am, first time on my boat, and we made it. And we did okay. I mean, it's at the time I was in perf, and this boat doesn't race to perf or to her perf, but it really was just a special moment. And then for me, I'm a member of the Royal Hamilton Amateur Dinghy Club, and I was the only dinghy club member entered in the race. So I was racing to my home yacht club, and that added a bit more specialness to that remarkable moment when we crossed the finish line.
That is pretty remarkable. The last question I have, Russ, is there anything that you think is truly unique about the A2B race compared to others?
2 things for the A2B race. One, you got to figure out how to navigate the bay. The bay is like the great equalizer to get down. And quite frankly, how well you do that run down the bay, it's only, 120, 130 miles, but it can set the tone, it can set the crew's mental state as you exit the bay. And if you exit strongly, then you're probably going to do well for the rest of the race. But if you have had a struggle down the bay and I have a hard time getting out, it's almost like the crew's on their back foot and they're not quite functioning like they could, and it takes you a while to recover. So that's one. And then 2, crossing the stream and all the fun that entails based on what the weather's doing. If you got wind over current, it's going to be brutal. Or it could be like it was this year, or last year, and it was a non-event, and we just squirted on by. But yeah, those 2 things. And then for the Bermuda race, and this is something I don't remember seeing on the Newport races, but racing to Bermuda, once you get out into the really deep ocean and see that unique blue color of the deep water ocean is just absolutely phenomenal. You get to see the Milky Way as it was meant to be seen, going from horizon to horizon. It's these little things that you just can't get to see every day, at least where we are here in Annapolis.
Well, Russ, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, and hope to see you in 2026.
Oh, you'll see us. Widowmaker's going to do it.
Great. Thanks.
All right, thank you.